There's a belief that weed control means chemical weed control. However, the first line of defense against weeds should be sound cultural practices, which include proper mowing, fertilization, and irrigation. Chemicals should be used only as a last resort. When grasses are properly managed, they are very good at competing with weeds and choking them out. After making your way through this guide, you should have a better understanding of how to manage your turf, which will in turn help with weed control. Mowing is one of the best cultural practices for eliminating weeds. Many of the weeds that are problems in field crops never appear in turf because they cannot tolerate mowing. Only the weed species that can tolerate defoliation can survive in turf. On the flip side, mowing can also be a contributor to weeds when the grass is cut low. Low-cut turf does not compete with weeds as effectively as a lawn that is maintained at a taller height. Another cultural practice to be mindful of is following a proper fertilization schedule. Weeds like crabgrass, goosegrass, foxtail, and barnyard grass are all warm season grasses, and fertilizing during the summer can help those weeds thrive when your lawn is stressed to begin with. This is a reason why it's best to apply fertilizer during the spring and fall. Fertilizer applied during the peak weed growth season will only encourage growth. If you are applying fertilizer in the summer, avoid phosphorus, as this is what newly germinated plants want, as their weak root system cannot obtain it from the soil as efficiently as mature plants. By adding phosphorus, you will only be helping weeds. Another method for weed control is proper irrigation. In the lawn care world, you'll often hear the phrase water deep and infrequently, and this is correct. One of the reasons for this practice is that germinating seeds need to be kept moist, just like when you're trying to establish a lawn. When you're irrigating light and frequently, you encourage germination of weed seeds. Give the top layer of soil a chance to dry out to prevent weed seeds from germinating. Cultural practices will not eliminate all weeds in your lawn, so another safe and effective method for eliminating weeds is to mechanically remove them. Simply cut, pull, or dig them out. They may regrow a few times, but persistence will win out, as the plant will exhaust its carbohydrate reserves in the root system after having the top removed a few times. Unfortunately, sometimes chemical solutions are needed to prevent and kill weeds. One of the best ways to stop grassy weeds like crabgrass from becoming a problem in your lawn is by using a pre-emergent herbicide. There are a wide range of products that you can buy and apply to your lawn. Scott's Halts, Prodiamine, generic brand crabgrass preventer can be found at your local hardware store and are good ways to prevent crabgrass. However, they do require applying them at the right time to be effective. You need to apply these before your soil temperature reaches 55 degrees, otherwise the weed seeds will germinate. There are two decent methods to find your soil temperature. You can use the Greencast website, which can give you the soil temperature for your area, or you could simply use a meat thermometer and manually check the temperature of the soil yourself. If you miss the pre-emergent window, you could be dealing with a crabgrass problem later in the summer. There are a couple of issues you need to be aware of when using pre-emergent herbicides. If you're planning on doing a spring seeding project, then you'll have to put that on hold because the pre-emergent will also prevent your grass seed from growing as well. Another problem applying pre-emergent too late in the spring is that you risk interrupting your fall overseed project. One thing to note is that pre-emergents will not work on broadleaf weeds like dandelions. They work best at preventing crabgrass and annual bluegrass. Now, annual bluegrass is challenging because you need to apply pre-emergent in the fall before the soil temperatures drop to 70 degrees, and then another follow-up application in the spring. Even after using pre-emergent herbicides, following the best cultural practices in mechanical removal of weeds, chemicals may be necessary to eliminate some challenging problems. Some of these problems include ground ivy and clover. There are readily available solutions found at your local hardware store that can kill these problem weeds. These chemicals are dicamba and 2,4-D, which can be found in a product called Compare and Save Lawn Weed Killer. There are a host of other products as well, but I find this product a good value and it works. If you missed your pre-emergent window and you do have a crabgrass problem, quinclorac is an effective chemical and it can be found in Gordon's lawn weed killer that has crabgrass inscribed on the front. Just make sure it has quinclorac on the label. Also note that a tough to remove problem is yellow nutsedge. You can try Sedgehammer, or if you don't want to order online, Roundup 2 for Lawns will take care of yellow nutsedge as well. Just make sure you buy the correct Roundup that has sulfentrazone. Another thing to be mindful of is not to confuse weed killer with lawn weed killer. A weed killer with glyphosate will kill the weeds and your lawn. Otherwise, you'll end up making an embarrassing mistake by killing your lawn wherever you sprayed the herbicide. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below.